So let's go ahead and talk about this again, because I know that some people are super confused on this, rightfully so. We kind of rushed it last time. I gave you more work time than anything else last class. So what the whole thing is with this final project, all right? It's literally the last thing that I'm going to assign you. We've got plenty of time to work on it. We'll have plenty of class time to work on it. And if we end up finishing this and everybody does pretty well on it, we'll probably spend some of the remaining time in class like watching a movie or something like that, right? Or yeah, just Judge Judy all the time. I'll see what Aiken and Adams are doing. I'm pretty sure that we're all on kind of the same page with this, but this is like the last big thing. You guys, and pretty much to my knowledge, everybody in here right now is doing pretty good and on track to be pretty solid. All right, I know this is you guys' final year. Anybody ready? Senioritis kicking in? Some of you had senioritis freshman year. That's how I was. That's fair. I get it.
I would rather give him like a 200 question test. I would take that.
I get it, but there's genuinely a lot of important stuff that goes on with it. Yeah.
Oh, well, then say when.
Yeah. So this is pretty much your final. So looking at this, we're looking at the 2020 election. We're looking at a lot of the allegations that were made in the 2020 election. So let me go ahead and go through this. What I did and what I set on here, you can complete this assignment in a variety of formats, and it's really kind of up to you how you want to do it. I don't quite know if Aiken and Adams are doing the same thing, but I don't mind if you guys want to do this, like responding to each question individually. If it's easier for you to go through this and look at the questions that are on here and see this and be like, okay, well, here's how the media addresses this moving forward. Here's how the media does this. Here's how, here's what happened with Lou Dobbs. Here's all the other stuff that goes on there. If you want to do it that way, that's totally fine. All right. If you want to, I would, I'll outline that in a little bit. I would guess at least like, yeah, at least, yeah, at the least. Now you could also go through and you could write a paper if you want. Some people like papers, some don't. I know it's not like a huge thing that everybody loves. Personally, papers have always been the best way for me to organize my thoughts. I would rather write a paper than take a test, and that's just always how I've been. Some people might feel the same way. Some of you might like throw up at the thought of a paper, and that's also totally fine. So if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You could also create a PowerPoint which addresses each question. If you do that, I would make sure to probably do like 2 to 3 slides per question, and it's like how much information you put on there, as long as you're answering the questions and you are putting effort into it and you're not just doing some BS that's like, this is what happened, that's it, right? If you do one of those, I'm probably not going to give you a fantastic grade. I'm not going to come through and like fail you or anything like that, because let's face it, it's the final project, it's senior year, right? What I really want you guys to do is do something with the time that you have with the rest of the year and get something out of this, get some sort of information about this, because this project relates to a lot of stuff that we're still seeing right now. I mean, even today, Florida Governor DeSantis signed in legislation that's restricting different forms of mail-in ballots. And then on top of that, interestingly enough, all other forms of media were banned from the press conference except for Fox News. So it's interesting to look into some of that stuff. This is going to be something that you're going to see throughout your politics. Again, whatever side you're on, you're going to see this question raised again in the next election. You'll see it raised in midterm elections. And this is going to be something, I'm hesitant to say it's like the new norm, but this might be something that we experience for some time. People are going to be talking about election fraud. People are going to be talking about possibilities of voter manipulation, and especially given the pandemic and not really knowing what the situation is going to be with mail-in balloting next time, this could be something that comes up yet again. So that's why we're kind of looking at this. All right. So you could go do, you could do a PowerPoint, and then, if you are somebody who's, some of you, I know Eli, you're in video production, aren't you? If you're interested in that, now, not everybody is. I had a student in middle school that was fantastic at making. He was like a fantastic video creator. Like, he was really, really good. And anytime that I gave him the opportunity, he would prefer to make something in a video. If you want to, you can, right? Sit down, I don't know, sit down in a 30 for 30 interview like you're Michael Jordan. Take it personally. Okay, go through, talk about all that stuff if you want to. If you want to create a video, as long as you're answering the questions and you're going through it, I mean, if you're somebody who's worried about how long this is going to take, that might be something that you could do, as long as it's not just like some pile of garbage that you turned in, then I'm okay with that, right? So first thing you're going to look at, the claim. Again, we're talking about the stolen or fraudulent election that took place. The courts, the media, several legislatures, you are going to look into each. You'll look into the media. So that's important. What is the media saying? What are different outlets saying? What is and don't just pull don't pull the whole CNN versus Fox News thing entirely. Definitely talk about it, but I don't know, bring in some other media too if you can. Talk about NPR, talk about PBS NewsHour, talk about Reuters or whoever, right? Bring in some other ones if you can. Definitely you can look at the conservative versus liberal media bias, because there's bias in both of them. Absolutely. That is something to bring up. State legislators, looking at Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona being a big one. There's still like a huge thing going on in Arizona looking into election fraud to this day. There's something else about let me see what this is. Cyber ninjas. You guys ever heard of this? Yeah. So it's looking at the election recount in Arizona. Yes, absolutely. Looking at the election recount in Arizona, and you have basically these people who are calling themselves cyber ninjas, right? They're hired by the Republicans in Arizona state legislature, and they're looking into different theories on the 2020 election, alleging that it helped flip votes from Trump to Biden. So there's something, I mean, you can look into cyber ninjas. There's a lot of really weird stuff that goes on with this. You can look into the legal system. Those of you who may have seen, the Trump campaign has filed more than 60 different cases as part of their attempt to overturn the election. For that, look into one of the cases and summarize what they claimed, what evidence they offered in court, and above all, what did the court say about the case? What was the ruling issued and why? I know that we looked into some court cases and how to address those. I think that you could probably use OIAs again, because I'm pretty sure that that's updated relatively frequently in these cases, as long as the cases are concluded, right? I think it'll be on there. Additionally, if you want to in that, you can talk about if you wanted to do in general, more general, you can look at the broad scope of cases and give a better breakdown of that if you want to, but you're only really required to look at one. And then postscript, summarize what happened to Lou Dobbs, Sidney Powell, and Fox News in response to their claims of computer fraud. Look at the actions taken by Smartmatic and Dominion and explain where things stand. That is, again, looking at some serious legal things that are going on right now. And in conclusion, what is your take at the end of all this? Do you think the election was stolen? If so, by whom and how? If not, why have the claims persisted? And what impact will they have on American politics in the future? That is the big reason why we're looking at this. At the end of the day, this is a government class, right? We're talking about the government, and we're looking about, what impact this event in itself is going to have on the future. No different than, looking at my U.S. history class, we're talking about Nixon and Watergate, right? What impact did that have on politics for, however much time? And same thing here. What are the impacts? What are the events that are going to take place? How are people going to perceive voting? Do you think that we'll move on from this form of voting? Is it going to be different? Eventually, do you think things will change? Do you think this will change voting at all? That is the big reason why we're looking at this. Okay, does anybody have any questions in particular about this? Anything at all? I know some of it is a little bit confusing. When you're seeing Lou Dobbs, Sidney Powell, and Fox News, that might be like something that confuses you when you're looking through it. That has to do with the media, right? But it also has to do with the legal system. All of these things kind of tie together, okay? There's a lot of different things that go on with this, but we can talk about this again in the future. We will talk about it probably frequently. And let's see. Let me see how many days we got left. Well, we got today, and then we got 3 days next week, 2 days the week after that. So we got like 5-6 days left of this class, okay? So a lot of the remaining time that you guys will have in this class will probably be working on this assignment. So I'll give you guys plenty of time to work on it. You don't have to worry about spending all your time outside of school, because I know that you guys have other finals as well. This is like, you come in here, you work on this, and that's pretty much what we're rolling with. Okay. Any worries? Any concerns? If you put effort into this and you try on it, you will be just fine. Okay. All right. So take the rest of class today. You have about an hour to work on this. Do something. All right. Don't sit on your phones the whole time. Go through and make sure that at the very least, go through and figure out your general idea. Figure out if you want to do a PowerPoint. Figure out, if you want to gather sources first. Sometimes that's the best thing. I'm not asking for works cited or anything like that. All right. You don't have to give me MLA format. All I would ask is that you maybe throw in like a link so that I can follow your sources. And again, if you want to operate on the side, I know that it seems like there's a pretty easy conclusion to some of these things. But if you want to operate on the side of like, yes, I believe that there is election fraud, that is absolutely something that you can do. Just find the information, okay? There are sources out there that will lead to some conclusions of that manner, right? Now, if you find that information, you throw it on there, that is your choice to do that, and that is totally fine with me. In fact, I welcome that. Absolutely welcome it, because I would love to read into it, all right? Does that make sense? Okay, so those of you online, I'm not going to make you guys stick around the whole time. Thanks for listening to my rambling today. I hope you enjoyed some of my dumb stories. If you heard any of them, you guys are good to go. Just make sure that you are working on this election project. If you run into anything that confuses you, just reach out on Canvas and I'll get right back to you. All right? All right, I'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Take it easy. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you.